Hey guys, Steve here. Different guitar today. Got the Epiphone DG335. Little different topic today. Just why I had this out, I wanted to ask you guys about Chinese guitars and should you buy a Chinese guitar? Obviously, I did because I didn't want to spend the 15 grand on a Gibson version. Sorry, getting some hum. But I'm asking this question because, like I said, I'm fairly new to guitars. But when you get into something, right, you do the deep dive. And I'm coming from this at a different angle, from a different hobby other than guitars. And I don't want people to freak out. I'm going to show you some pocket knives. These aren't weapons, they're tools to me. So I don't want to get political, but I know sometimes you pull out pocket knives and people freak out. But I just wanted to show you a couple. This is a high-end American production made knife. And this is a high-end American handmade, without a CNC, all by hand made knife. And you can see this has a distinct blade, right? It's blunt. It's not for stabbing. It's a fancy box opener, a very expensive fancy box opener. And if someone's going to come in here and comment that they don't understand knives and we shouldn't have weapons, look, it's America. I've had a pocket knife since I was a kid. I've been into knives forever. And like with any hobby, right, you grow in the hobby. So, and the pocket knife and I think the guitar world, from what I'm seeing, are very close, right? So, like I said, I've had a knife forever, but then as you get older and make more money and can buy nicer things, you buy nicer things and you go down the rabbit holes and you find out, oh, there's knives come from all over, just like guitars do. But like some of these small batch makers or well-known makers in the US, I keep this one in a sheath. I bought this after my mom passed away, just to remind me it's just a beautiful knife. And sorry, backstory, squirrel. But I do carry it, do use it. But anyway, so in the world of, we're just going to give you a quick rundown real quick. I don't want to make this too long. I just wanted to get your guys' opinions, and because I think they're very similar. So you go down the world of pocket knives, right? There's American makers. There's, like I said, makers from everywhere. There's makers that have stuff made in China, a la like Gibson with, with the Epiphone line, Fender with the Squier line, and whatever else there are. But they're also known for, and like I said, I don't want to get this political, but China is good at one thing, right? They're good at manufacturing. They're very good at manufacturing. And they used to start with, pocket knives from China were just garbage, junk. Well, then someone taught them how to make pocket knives. Some American companies went over there because they wanted some knives made cheaper. And obviously their production costs are cheaper over there. So they taught them how to make really good knives. And now they make, and you can get everything from a cheap garbage knife to a very nice knife. I choose to only buy in other countries too, but I stay away from the Chinese knives now. One, because it's come up recently, like the steels they're claiming that they use in the blade are one thing, but they're not, right? Why would China buy American-made steel, have it shipped over to China to then ship it back when they have large steel manufacturing over there? So the steel you're getting, that they're claiming you're getting, is not what you're getting. But what also has been really popular recently is like in the new YouTube knife world, these YouTubers are designing knives, sending those designs over to China, and then China's making them and then they're selling them to their fans. And the prices, which were down here, say, have started to creep up in price. And you're not, like I said, not necessarily maybe getting the steel that you were promised and paying for. But then there's also the darker side where just straight up counterfeits and copies. You can find them, just like with the guitars where they're branding them Gibson made in the USA. They're branding these knives made in the USA, and they're counterfeits, they're clones. Um, I just wanted to get your theory because in China, if you do some research, so there's one city, like their cities all specialize in kind of one thing. One city in China, literally the entire city is focused around making knives, kitchen knives, pocket knives. That's what that entire city does. And then I found, it's the same for like I can't remember the name of the city, but the city that does nothing but make guitars. And this was a struggle for me to buy, honestly, because of what I knew about how their um, production, or how they produce stuff over there, and copied stuff, and don't care about patents and stuff like that. But now all these Americans are sending designs over and having them, and every day there's a new knife company popping up. But they're all under the same, right? They're all one. They just branch off with a new name. But that got me thinking about guitars. Like I wasn't like I bought that. I wanted an American Stratocaster, and I wanted the black American Stratocaster. Um, and then like I said, I'm a huge Dave Grohl fan. I think this guitar is one of the best looking guitars I've ever seen in my life. With the cat eyes instead of the diamond holes, instead of the F holes, it is just a slick, beautiful looking guitar. Um, the fretwork's not like I'm not getting stabbed by the frets. I've watched a ton of videos on these before I bought one. People loved them, people hated them. I'm really happy with it. And I just kind of wanted to get your guys' thoughts. Like, how's an American company, Gibson, right? Gibson owns Epiphone. So they're over there. And now I watched something earlier. The reason China's knocking off, like 335s and stuff like that, all the hollow body and all the, say, Les Pauls that aren't Epiphone, but what do they call them? Chipsums, is because companies like Fender and Gibson have gone over there and have plants that make their Epiphones, their Squires. And now, because China doesn't, even though it's an Epiphone plant, like I watched a tour that it's an Epiphone plant ran by an American guy, but because the CAD files or the drawings or whatever for these guitars are over in China now, that even though it's Gibson Epiphone, but there's others out there now, right? There's counterfeits, there's clones, there's fakes. I watched something the other day, there's, seizing a pallet of fake Gibsons with stamped in the USA. You guys can buy whatever you want. I just kind of thought it was an interesting topic because they are very similar, right? Both hobbies, both kind of having the same issue, but it's more in the knife world. It's either you're all American, you don't care where you're either buying all American knives, you're in that camp, or you don't really care, you just want a good knife, or you just don't really know, right? Because a lot of people, the knife hobby is very small, very, very small. You gotta think who's geeking out over pocket knives. But I just thought it was an interesting topic, and what it was like for you guys. Do you care? Do you buy the copies? Do you buy the Chipsums, the Temu specials? Do you spend the money on the American made or other, like say Japanese made or wherever, Mexico? Or do you buy the Chinese Gibson or Epiphones? I just kind of wanted to know how the guitar world felt about that, and where you guys kind of fell into that whole thing. Is it a thing in the guitar world like it is the knife world? Because right now, like prices, right? Like I said, in the Chinese pocket knives, they were down here, and they keep creeping up. They keep creeping to where now they're charging as much as some of these American makers for their knives. And the same thing, this was a $1,200 guitar, right? This was as much as my American made Stratocaster. I'm looking, I've kind of got this 4 guitar collection in my head, and I've been looking, you know, at Les Pauls, and man, I really like the look of that that white, Alpine white Epiphone Les Paul custom that Epiphone does. But man, it's $12.99. It's bonkers. You know, for a couple more $100, I could find an American Gibson. So I'm really kind of fighting with that right now. Do I just not care as much as I did like with pocket knives, where I'm pretty particular on what I buy, or do I just enjoy the hobby and enjoy the guitar? Because, like I said, I really like this guitar. It's a really nice guitar. Would I be more happy with a Gibson Les Paul over a Epiphone? I don't know. Like I said, I love how that Epiphone looks. And for me, right, you buy something because you like how it looks, and then the rest is secondary. And it probably shouldn't be that way, but you know, a lot of times you buy with your eyes. If I wasn't attracted to this guitar, I wouldn't have bought it and then played it. Like, seeing this guitar makes me want to pick it up and play it. So same with the Black Strat. So I think you have to be attracted to whatever you're buying, right? Otherwise, if you buy something and you're not really into it, it's just going to sit over in the corner. So I don't know. I just thought it was, as I've digging deeper into this hobby, the similarities between like this and the pocket knife world were just kind of similar. And I didn't know, you know, I don't think the guitar people are as into it as the knife people. Like I said, it's a very small community, but they're very passionate about pocket knives and where they're made and the materials they're made out of. So, like I said, just I was curious and just kind of wanted to get your guys's take. Do I get the Alpine white, or do I spend the extra $800 and get a US Gibson? Decisions. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you later.